So I have to say, it is so weird to have people here. I mean, it's a funny thing to say, but I just noticed as I was proclaiming the gospel that it was so hard to look anywhere but right here. So I might be looking at all of you guys, but I had to retrain myself to be okay, wait, I have to look here and here. And that's something for us to recognize, that each one of us have been profoundly affected by this experience in different ways, and it's going to manifest in different ways. Some of us, we've become like the character from Monk. If you remember that show a long time ago, I feel like that right now, where we have to sanitize everything, and that's something that's kind of with us right now. Or even the difficulty of when you actually meet someone face to face. Maybe we understand a little more of what our younger generations who they don't know anything else but the internet. And I think all of us here, I'm probably the youngest one here, we remember a world without the internet. We remember a world in which there was more just a face-to-face conversation, and our younger generations don't know that experience, or don't know the experience of not being without a smartphone. And so maybe this is also a moment to grow in a deeper understanding of maybe what other people are going through that we don't even think of. Or maybe struggles that they go through that, again, maybe we're just have taken for granted or didn't even realize until we sort of went through something like this. And it helps our heart to be humble, and our heart to grow in learning how to be an encourager. So, St. Barnabas today is a perfect example of someone who has been given actually a charismatic gift of the Holy Spirit called encouragement. It's someone who, just having them in your presence, you feel warmer in your heart, you feel loved by God. It isn't even necessarily something that they always say, but it's just the way that they say it, the way that they look at you. Someone, I believe, who maybe even had this charismatic gift was Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. You really look at the way that he would say things, very simple, but even through the video screen, he made countless people feel loved. And he would even say later on in life, during a graduation speech, he would say, the reason why I say, I like you just the way that you are, is not just sort of it doesn't really matter, you don't need to grow, but you're made in the image and likeness of God. And I like you because he made you and created you and said that you're beautiful. So this is really a time of thinking, how can we become encouragers during a time in which so many of us, if not all of us, have been profoundly shaped in our mentality, in our hearts, with newfound fears, with even just the difficulty of being present to someone, the difficulty of looking at someone in the face versus looking just through a screen. And I give you maybe two important principles with being an encourager. First of all, be a listener, and listen more than you speak. This is something I think St. Barnabas was probably very good at, because he would go, and it even says here that he went to look for Saul. Remember, many of the Christians at this time did not want anything to do with Saul, who then became Paul. Even though Paul is proclaiming the gospel, it's the first weeks in which he's become a converted Christian. But most of the church at that time said, that's the guy that was killing us. We don't want him around. And yet it was Barnabas who went and found him and brought him back. Probably a lot of that was that he didn't just sort of fall into listening to what everyone else was saying and saying, yeah, that's right, we're not going to take him. And in a sense, allowing their fears to become his fear. But he said, you know what? I need to find him. I need to spend time with him. I need to listen to him. He's proclaiming the gospel, and I'm not going to put him in a stereotype. I need to listen to him and listen and find out who he actually is. And when he was able to do that, then it also created a bridge where Saul saw that this man loved him. Because he went and searched for him. He listened to him. He spent time with him. And so that's one of the first things I think that we need to do is during this time in which our society is fractured, our church is fractured, we have various stages of people who have been hurt or who have become lukewarm or indifferent or all these different things in which there are some of us that are ready and can't wait to just come back to Mass. And that's probably many of you guys for signing up right away. But there's a whole sort of spectrum of those that maybe are waiting cautiously. And we need to respect that and make sure that we're reaching out and helping as best as we can. But then there's others that maybe are saying, I just have a sadness in me right now. I have a hopelessness. Or maybe I'm just kind of I'm just comfortable the way that I am right now, and I don't really need Mass anymore. And what we need to do in those moments is make sure that we're spending time and being a listener before we speak, so that we can be present to someone, to be present and find out where are they in their hurt, in their fears, in their struggles. It's one of the reasons why we have 2 ears and one mouth. Listen twice as much as we talk. That's actually like a Jewish way of thinking of it. They have these real kind of funny ways of doing it. It's like, hey, we got 2 ears, we got one mouth. Listen more than you speak. So that's the first thing. But then when you speak, are you first focusing on what is good, true, and beautiful in that person? Many times when we speak out of hurt, pain, struggle. And sometimes when we're in that state, the way that we speak is something that doesn't see them in their goodness and truth and beauty as God sees them. We, in a sense, see the stuff that's on the surface, the junk that all of us have that's sort of on the surface. What the gift of encouragement does, and what the Lord is the great encourager, is he sees the junk. He doesn't sort of push it away and say it's not there, but he goes through it. And he finds the diamond in the rough. He finds that first. And then from there, loves that person in such a way that that very love, which Pope Francis would call the gaze of mercy, is a way in which you love that person in the truth of who they are as a child of God, as loved by the Father, as good, as beautiful. And it's that gaze that, in a sense, pulls them out and helps them to grow. And it helps you to grow because it pulls you out of your own junk. So it's kind of like this magnet, in a sense, that helps each other become that better version of themselves that God created them to be. That's what St. Barnabas does. Yes, maybe Saul, had some real interesting personality struggles. He definitely was someone who had an intense personality. Maybe you've met people that have intense personalities, and the first thing you want to do is just go like that. But what if he did that here? And yet he listened. He sought that which was good, true, and beautiful. And he walked with that person, ultimately helping them to come to the church. So think about that. Think about how you are able to be an encourager in this world.